woman.
Hi, welcome back to Inspire Empire. My name's Val and this is the beautiful Danielle.
Hello, how are you?
Today we're going to discuss about relationships. We discuss, share, enhance some information around relationships. Not the relationships, not the lovey-dovey, oh my darling, not those relationships, but the relationships that we have with life itself, things that happen to our life, the people around it, the things that we do.
Yeah,
so,
I think we don't put a great deal of thought into a lot of the basic things that we take for granted with relationships. I often think that we just sort of tumbleweed through life with the little life hacks that we miss out on without knowing that they're there. But hopefully today we can enlighten you a little bit about a couple of the things that will really help your life go forward. We're going to talk about breath, water, and consciousness, mindful consciousness today. And the relationships that we have with breath, with consciousness and with water are actually a part of the essential need that we can thrive with in everyday life. In fact, they're life hacks, because the more we utilize the breath, the more we utilize our own conscious mindfulness, and the more we utilize water, we're actually just flourishing and thriving through life.
yeah.
So I'm going to talk about breath. You know, not many people actually think about breath, but when you do think about it, it's the very first thing that we're gifted, isn't it? It's the first thing that we receive when we come into this physical body is our breath. And it's also the last thing that we give back. But how often do we put any conscious thought into our breath? And a lot of people will say to me, oh, I'm stressed, you know, I get really stressed and anxious. The fact of the matter is that you're probably just holding your breath. And I see it a lot, especially with my clients. Would you see that too?
I do see it a lot. Or we go into a very short breath rhythm when we're feeling a bit panicky, you know, breathing too shortly so we're not getting enough oxygen through our system.
Yeah, and it's like the responses. So we actually, you have probably heard of fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. You know, they're responses that the human condition has when we're trying to keep ourselves safe. But for whatever reason, when we have to talk to somebody or when we have to do something, we can hold our breath in that type of a response, whether it be like running from something that we don't want to deal with, we might do short, fast breaths. Or if it's something that we just want to freeze out, we might hold our breath. So being consciously aware of our breath and learning how to take a few lovely deep breaths in is such an amazing gift that we were given. And when we do actually use our mindful consciousness around breath, it's a whole new world. So what I'd like you to do is think about this, and we'll do it together if you like, Val.
Sure.
I want you to take a really lovely breath in and watch what happens with our body. So when we breathe in, and then in again, and then breathe out from here. The whole body relaxes down. So if you were to do 3 of those breaths, 3 in, top it up, and release it out, try and find your anxiety or your stress then, because you're now oxygenated, and the whole mind, body, the whole physical message is relaxation.
Yes, yeah. Like when you hold your breath, beyond the breath, your whole body tightens. You have less oxygen flow to your cells, to your mind, so you become a bit clouded. You don't think as clearly. It's a wonderful thing to go back to breath. Always go back to breath.
And it really is just it is a superpower. If you can become more and more conscious of how you are breathing in those moments where you need your breath the most, you will just see things change. It's such a beautiful little life hack. So enjoy your breath, because it is magnificent. It's a part of your life force energy, and honour it. You know, use it like it's meant to be used, to be calm, relaxed, and just let it flow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love breath.
I do too. I actually love it so much that I have a tattoo of it. My husband tells me that it's to remind me to breathe because I'm blonde, but that's not actually true. It's because it means that I'm in this body. You know, this is my physical body. I have a spiritual body, but this is my physical body, and it needs maintenance and it needs love, and the breath is a huge part of that ongoing maintenance. Yeah, the conscious maintenance of the body.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, cool.
Wonderful. So I'm going to share a little journey of mindfulness. The way I look at mindfulness when I'm working with my clients is to bring us back to the knowledge and the understanding that we're all one, And there's so much connection to everything on earth once you go through the mindful process.
Mm-hmm.
So the journey I'm going to share with you today is about connection through mindful thought. So if you think about an apple that we eat, we buy it from the store, it's crisp and lovely, it connects to our body, it provides vitamins and nourishment for our body. But let's go back to the beginning of the creation of that apple. Let's go back to the soil, the beautiful soil, and all the wonderful things that live beneath that soil to help keep it aerated for a seed to grow. The earthworms, the beetles, the soil itself, the minerals. So starting at the soil, and then observe in your mind the little seed, the seed that starts out, like the seed of everything in our life. It's got to begin somewhere, and it begins at this beautiful little seed. And then, another siren. We tend to attract sirens
Yeah,
in
how's
our
that?
videos,
Last
so
week
right
and
on
this
cue.
week. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, take a breath.
So once you go back looking at that seed, so then the rain comes down and the sun shines, even the energy of the moon, and that seed then starts to flourish as our ideas, our energy can flourish. It becomes a small little plant and eventually the most magnificent tree bearing flowers which attract bees and birds, and with those bees and birds we now have fruit form on those trees. Now, the connection to the tree. Well, what is the connection to the tree? We share energy. We breathe out, they breathe that in. They breathe out, we breathe that in. There's a flourish of connection. They take in what we breathe out, we breathe in what they breathe out, taking it in, a flow of energy. So when you start to connect to the mindfulness of how everything works in our life, you can start to feel quite comfortable and at ease and actually enjoy everything in life. So then the apple gets picked by the farmer or the market person. They pick the apples. So honour, that process as well. They get carted to store by a truck, honour the truck driver. They get packed up and sold, honour the person that works behind the shop, the store to sell the apple. Then we put them in our fridge and we enjoy the crispness of that apple. It goes into our body and nourishes our body. So see the process now as it starts to open up, the connection between earth, between the tree, between the air, the sun, the energy, between other people that even bring just that one part of an element of our life to us. And once you become mindful of the process, mindful of things, you can then turn your attention to how little things can build your empire within, like the sun radiating your energy. How beautiful and blessed, because the sun not only gives us growth, it gives everything on earth growth. The rain, well, sometimes rain can be a bother, but the rain also nourishes everything on earth, including us. We need water. and right down to the tree, the flow of, like we spoke before, breath. We breathe in, the tree breathes that in, the tree breathes out, and we breathe in. It's a flow of beautiful energy.
It's that lovely circle.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's about the connectedness and the oneness, really. You know, we are each living in our own story, but at the end of the day, we all came from that seed of thought, that seed of life, that growth, that connectedness to all that is. You know, and the water is just a divine cleansing tool of it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, without water, like, where would we be? We're made up of 70% water. Think about that. There's actually a guy called Dr. Emoto. He was a Japanese fellow, and he did some really cool research around water, and he photographed it in different environments and found that it was actually impacted by vibration of negative and positive energy. So he used thoughts and words directed at water and then photographed it. And it was in controlled environments. But the interesting thing about this was, and this goes back to that connectedness, when it was cursed and yelled at and sworn upon, when they photographed it, it was like this green blob of distaste, right? Like horrible. But when they honoured it with gratitude and love, it turned into this most magnificent, like an ice flake. Under the photo lens. It was just, I'll actually drop the link down there. There's another lady, Veda Austin. She's doing some really cool work with water at the moment, and it's around the intuitiveness of water, because water has its own consciousness, which, you know, you can look at me now and go, yeah, right, but I'll drop her link down there too, Veda Austin. She's actually found that you could put a photograph underneath water in a petri dish, take that photograph away after a length of time, freeze it, and then take a photo of the water, and it's intuited what that picture was.
So memory, it's almost a form of memory energy in water.
So this is our next hack, in fact, is water, because if we're made up of 70% water, and the water that we're taking into our body, which is supposed to be around 2.5 litres plus a day as adults, then giving gratitude and love to that water and sending that out, that is also then putting that energy into us. But it's also allowing us to function at a more loving and grateful manner energetically, because that water is intuitive, and when we do honour it completely, much like our breath, it just allows us to have that little life hack and thrive that little bit better within ourselves.
Yeah, and also bringing the mindfulness into that space. So through mindfulness, you know, quite often the most negative person that we speak to in our lives is ourselves, our relationship that we have with ourselves. And that can be taught behaviour from other people's language towards us, but it also can be just how we think and feel about ourselves at the time. So imagine how much our body is made up of water, and this water vibrates in frequency and memory, and we're sharing the frequency of negative words and the memory of those negative words. We're actually really harming ourselves. So when we can actually connect to the mindfulness state and bless our water and bless every particle of water in our body and speak kindly to ourselves, the change is just incredible.
It is incredible. And it goes back to that, we were talking about it last week, is taking that 100% responsibility for our thoughts, feelings and emotions, but rather than treating ourselves as our worst enemy, being our best friend and doing it from love and kindness, and starting that relationship with ourselves. Because when we can do that, then the water within us, the breath within us, the flow within our consciousness, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, and so with the mind, back to the mindfulness, the breath and the water, it's all connected. You know, it's all connected, your breath, to bring you back to that state where you can come back to your mind and have a little look at, you know, what's going on there. And do I need to have a bit of clarity, a bit of mindfulness? Do I need to connect to that part of myself that thinks and feels a little bit differently? Even if it's just changing one aspect of all of those things a day, you know, a few deep breaths a day, a few more positive thoughts, connection to gratitude and life as its blessings evolve around you, and then connecting to even the blessing of water.
Yeah, I actually do have a little ritual that I do each day. I carry my water with me wherever I go. I wasn't very good at drinking water, and I didn't realise until I saw Dr. Emoto's work how important water was for the body, or for the planet, for everything that we do in this human form, you know, for the growth of the apple, everything that's connected to water. So I started carrying water around, and I started having this little mantra each morning when I got up, and I would say to myself, and you might like to do this too, a couple of times a day, I would say to myself, I love drinking water, and I drink more and more water each and every day. I love drinking water, and I drink more and more water each and every day. I love drinking water, and I drink more and more water each and every day. But what's happened is I do actually now drink my required amount of water, and it makes me feel fantastic. Yeah, just having that. And I always give thanks for my beautiful water. So that's a part of it.
We're so blessed if we have, you know, clean water, fresh water. And so you can do that on a mindfulness and energy basis as well. As you swallow your water, as you're taking a mouthful of water, or you're looking at your water in the glass, you can say, this water, as I drink it, blesses every cell in my body with happy, loving, light energy. This water, as I drink it, as I take it up every day, enhances my body with loving, light energy, positive energy, feeling the positive flow as I swallow this water.
And I really do encourage you to go and have a look at Dr. Emoto's work, and have a look at what love and gratitude looks like under the lens of a photograph of water. As I said, I'll drop that in the link down below, but yeah, highly recommend it.
Yeah, and just going back to breath for a moment and mindfulness, you know, you can even speak to yourself through your breath. If you're having a moment of anxiety or stress, you can actually even just say in your mind's eye or your thought process, as I breathe in, I allow myself, because quite often when we're all caught up, we're not allowing ourselves to connect back to breath. So as I breathe in, I allow myself to relax deeper and deeper. And as I breathe out, I allow myself to feel calm and still. And you can just say that a few times, 3 or 4 times. As I breathe in, I allow myself to relax deeper and deeper. And as I breathe out, I allow myself to feel calm and still. So blessing your breath with beautiful, positive, gratitude, loving words, blessing your water with beautiful, loving and grateful energy can be such a good move forward.
3 beautiful life hacks. So we're going to let you go now. Have a magnificent week, and we will be back next week. Next week on... What are we up to next week? Do we have a plan for next week? We do, actually. Yeah, well, it's a secret plan right now.
Because grey hair moment. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. We hope you have a fabulous week, and we really look forward to connecting with you. Please share some communication with us, with anything that you would like to share. We're open to suggestions, within reason, no, anyway. And we look forward to next week.
Yeah, so really love having you, and have a magnificent week, and just remember to breathe.
Breathe.
Yeah, with love and gratitude.
From our heart to yours.
Yeah, bye.
It's yours and a time.
It's yours and your time.
With what you do